what can I say? I'm proud to share the name. If you could hear me now, I'd let you know that we'll be fine. Just wish we had more time. The funeral mass is over. The longest procession I've ever seen snakes into the cemetery. The family is circled around with a sea of friends and extended family behind them. The Knights of Columbus from all over Michigan are there in their full regalia, the swords, the capes, the plumes. The soldiers start to take the flag off the casket and do that crisp, slow fold. And off, behind, over the hill, the sound of a lone bagpipe. And then we hear, coming over the hill, the Black Army helicopters like dark suns. They're flying up in a V formation. There's one in the front, there's two on the left, but there's only one on the right. It's a missing formation, a missing man formation. It's for my brother, Tom. Tommy the clown. War hero, silver star, brave man, the man's man, best man, the missing man.
Beautiful. Have a seat. So how does this feel compared to, you know, what you've been doing?
It feels authentic. It feels genuine. It feels like something I want to do. Mm-hmm. The other is more like a kind of a piece of scholarship, you know,
right?
An academic presentation, which has its place.
But you know, you're such a natural storyteller. What does it feel like to just step into it? Have you really done this before?
Not quite this richly.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah. Well, it's beautiful.
Not my own. You know, I've done storytelling, but not.
Yeah, but it's beautiful. So I feel so happy, I just want to cry.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I have to tell you, my whole thought right now was, yesterday you were a lecturer and today you're a performer.
Yeah.
And for people here, like, beautiful top to bottom. Top to fucking bottom. I mean, I always write a couple of notes. There were some minor things that, you know, super minor, but in terms of like, in every layer, you are a fantastic performer. Some people are great writers. They're not necessarily great performers. Some people are good performers, not necessarily strong writers. You're a really beautiful writer. It doesn't feel contrived, you know, in terms of some of the stuff. You know, the moments, particularly the moments of music when you're talking about him being in Vietnam and you're singing a couple lines, that's how the music should be dropped in. Like, that's the connector rather than a stop, now I'm going to break out. Just really beautiful, and I have to just say to you, as somebody who has two boys, just how touching it is, because the complexity of sort of male sibling relationships as a mother and understanding like what love looks like between two males is so different, and I see it in my own son. I mean, you should be walking on cloud right now, and you should just feel like that thing where like your heart breaks open and the sky just opens up with you and shines down on you, because that's the kind of moment you had just now, and just like feel that and bask in it, because it's the first time you've had it, and you will never have that first again quite like this. So enjoy it, like just really enjoy it and step into the power of it, because this is the kind of work that actually people show up for and want to walk through with you.
Absolutely.
And it's the same story.
it's the same.
But
story.
it's completely different.
Yeah.
And the beautiful humor and like the thing, I love the line
So
of the
the
girlfriend. So the clown and also the girlfriend. I don't know how else to
I love that.
That is
awesome.
great. Just beautiful. And the only thing,
Brilliant.
you know, I would, the only thing I changed, like, you know, I wouldn't say the line he's in a coma because there was actually a build up to it and
Yeah.
we're still hoping for it. The other thing in terms of the titration for the song, with the song, you're recapping the story with the song, and I think the storytelling is so powerful.
Yeah.
I would have liked it if you ended it. It would have been more powerful for me. And what I'm going to suggest to you is what you and I chatted about, recording a whole album of the songs that you can also sell at the performances and offer the whole things. But and I said to John, I think just a cappella with no music is so beautiful. But the first time you ended on "I'm proud we share the name,"
Yeah, I thought about
just
that.
cut it
Yep.
right there
Makes
and
sense.
not do the other couple of verses. And I think you should be thinking about that amount of music in each of the monologues because a little goes a long way, and it's enough to just, you know, and then so that you can have your songs and people want to hear the whole thing and whole verses, you know, have an album that people can buy with everything, but it's that delicate balance. And the other thing I'd say at the end, when you turn, you know, and the helicopters are coming, you actually went big, and I would have gone small. Like if I were directing you, because it's so big and the helicopters are so big, I would get so still and so quiet, and just then I look up and there's one missing copter, one missing chopper. Whatever. So just that's a directorial note, and it's not a big deal today. But I'm just thinking in terms of performance.
So instead of, you know, I was trying to like top the sound of
and
them.
I don't want you to top. Instead, the quieter you get, the whole audience will be leaning in because it's so big and so powerful. And honestly, the thing about the coins was just, you could even slightly expand that because that was just such an exquisite thing of his own generosity of spirit and at the end of his life. And I just, it's also a great, totally stage worthy, and original. And another thing I want to point out, so original that you can see is, okay, the classic story is often the estranged brothers, the military guy and the hippie pot smoking dude like you, but the love between you and the fact that actually you never went, and I liked when you said, and we never had to polarize around it because like you got out of the draft. Right. It was kind of a unique point of view to not go into the polarization, and yet you still had this reflection and understood the differences. It also showed a lot about your ability to show up and love and be a loving person. And generous of spirit, and so it was just good material.
And also to Tanya's point about the music, when it goes too long, it pulls us a little out of it. Interestingly enough, like I know because you're musical, you think it pulls us deeper. It actually, when it gets a little long, pulls us out. And I have to tell you, you have a beautiful voice. So you're really lucky because you can get away with actually adding the music. Let me tell you, I couldn't sing anything. No one, this would not be valuable to anyone. But you can do that, and the humming of the bagpipes was beautiful. Like there are ways in which, like, think of it as a phrase or a whisper rather than a block.
But we don't want to feel like it's Brigadoon because it's not. It actually has a lot more emotional depth, and this is why we're saying a little goes a long way. That second verse, right?
You start to get a little taken out of it because, quite frankly, you're so present and you've done such a good job of dropping us in. Don't then abandon us, because when you start singing for too long, you've kind of abandoned us.
Yeah, I'm over that.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't need to do the whole song.
Yeah, and it's beautiful, but just
it's an ad too.
It's an ad, yeah, because I think it's just in your head. Understand that, like, we are so with you, and if you go off and do this thing, we kind of drop back a little bit.
How ironic.
Yes.
I thought it was the other way around.
Yeah, no, but it's the story. Well, it's so, you know, you have so much heart, and it's beautifully told. And by the way you portray your brother is exquisite. Like, we don't think of him as this asshole, but this honorable, decent guy who did what he thought was right.
Exactly.
And you know, there's not, like, that was really well done. I would say this is a tiny, tiny, tiny note. You said your mom notices you're upset and she gives you paper. Some way, that's that telling thing that was just a little tiny, tiny bit. So you might want to just think about it. It's super, super small, but the reason I'm bringing it up at all is because it's so damn good. I just want you to pay attention. Do you know what I mean? It's not like you have to worry about it, but it's like, just think about that.
Wow, that's loaded. I'll be writing about Mom today.
Awesome.
Yes, it's so simple.
You know, just keep going, and it's just so wonderful
brilliant
to see you just bust out as the storyteller that you
Yeah.
are in both story and song. And I had a suspicion with you. We talked about this.
We talk about all of you.
I'm
Shamelessly.
done.
You say lots of things, but you'll never know.
But we both did have a suspicion, like, that there was, just because of your presence, it
Great
was like
presence.
your presence came in, but it wasn't yet reflected in the story. But like, it's so natural to you now. You have the tools, and now you can feel what works. And like, this opens you the whole possibility of your show into a million different directions. And it's like, just keep going,
Yeah,
keep working,
keep going.
do the next,
Keep going.
do the next
Like,
piece
now you're
today.
yeah,
that we
you're like
talked
this
about.
sort of lion now, and like yesterday you were a domestic cat. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just like, and it's like fabulous. It's super, super fabulous. You're on fire, and you have, I mean, just from having one intense, you know, kind of process and shifting, now if you can replicate that, you have a super powerful show. Great point of view, which Tanya was talking about. You know, the story, again, we were saying there aren't that many original stories. Stories like brothers, all that stuff, there's lots of that. But I noticed Stephen looked like he was going to say something when he was nodding a minute ago, so about the transformation. So I just want you to go ahead and say whatever it is you're going to say.
Oh, I was just going to say, oh my God. Like, as an audience member,
Yeah.
it's, I don't know where that came from. That was just, that was incredible. That was just,
Water.
Yeah.
Helen Keller. I mean, I'm telling you, it was like Alice through the looking glass for me when I was writing this last night. It was like,
Yeah.
everything changed. So,
you had to have known when you finished writing that you had something, because that...
well, I felt it was really honest. And I felt like I could, you know, I have some delivery skills, so let's see how that goes. But I was really, I don't know, I want to be humble about it. I was like given a process. You guys have given me a process, you know. And you didn't say like the presentation was terrible, but you just said it's a presentation. If you want to do a solo performance, do these things.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, as you said, the presentation has a home somewhere else.
Yeah.
It, you know, it has a place.
Tired of that.
This is just right. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much.
Although,
Thank
great,
you.
great work.
Thank you.